Okay, so guys, welcome to our FFL Gladiators weekly call, and I'm very honored and blessed to have Sierra here to just kind of talk about what she does on a daily basis and how she goes and protects families. We can't really disclose numbers on the call as we're recording, but she does 20 plus families almost monthly, and she's consistent, which is the key to this business. She's been doing it for a good amount, and she actually just walked out of a house. She completed an application, so congratulations. But no, we talked the other day, and your story is just fascinating. And again, we have so many people that have such amazing stories that do this on a daily basis. But yours really stuck out to me because I've seen your numbers all the time. And I was talking to Shelly and Ben. I was like, "Hey, who's Sierra?" And she's like, "Oh, she's just somebody that's, just doing this." And I'm like, "Okay, good." And I see your numbers, and I was like, "Oh, wow, she's really doing this." And then all of a sudden, I was like, "I really got to talk to her and see what's going on. Like, what is she doing?" But yeah, just kind of introduce yourselves. Give us a little bit about what you're doing, how long you've been in this industry.
Okay. My name's Sierra Hunter. I started doing AFLAC probably 12 years ago. I had my health license and I was kind of going all over the place, cold calling. I was hitting multiple businesses and I really liked it. I was good at it. And I did that for a while. So I've always kind of been in the insurance and the medical side of things, but I really have a passion for life insurance. I have been through quite a bit as far as, experiences when my papa died, not having it, and sitting in a funeral home and can't get a loan. And, so that feeling, that gut wrenching feeling it's something I don't want anybody to have to feel. So, I'm passionate about what I'm doing. And I think that's important, to really be passionate about what you're doing. I live in Huntington. I'm not from here, so it's a lot different than my small town area. I'm in a tri-state area, so I could get lost very quickly, and I do sometimes. But it can be kind of scary because there's a lot of roads that are up mountains and a lot of roads that are falling off the side of the mountain as you're going up them. So you just never know.
Go face to face, right? You go to their house and you go see them.
Yeah, I do all face to face. And to me, it's fun. Like, I enjoy it. Maybe it's that I enjoy a challenge. I'm not really sure. Or, also I'm passionate because the way I see it is if somebody has inquired about, about life insurance, mortgage protection, it's something they want. They're wanting me to come to them. So I'm getting out there. So whether I got to pack up all my kids and mother-in-law and we all going, we do it, and it's not always great, but we do that quite a bit because, I thought a long time ago, either this can be my excuse or, I could use it to my advantage. And if there's a place that's safe, I have taken my kids in before, make sure it's okay with, the client. And I make myself very comfortable wherever I'm at. And I don't think I've upset anyone, but, it works for me. I kind of look at it as that I'm doing this because it's flexible and because I enjoy it. And so with that, if something happens and, I have no family here. So I have, a 1-year-old, a 5-year-old, and an 8-year-old, and a mother-in-law take care of during the day. And my husband works. So, daytimes I usually don't get. But, and then, my dialing, I kind of just have to maximize my time because, and then I'm taking care of 2 homes and everything. So there's just always a lot going on. But I just kind of maximize my time that I have. And, I enjoy door knocking. To me, it feels like Christmas because, you really don't know what you're going to get. Um, and with that, I will say, to have something on you just in case, if ever, you ever got in a bad situation, you get a pepper spray or something. I tend to wear running shoes, or something with a strap on the back just in case there's dogs or something. I'm not afraid of dogs, but if something tried to eat me, obviously I'm going to try to outrun it. I'm just, I feel like there's more good people than there's not. And these are people who are wanting life insurance. So if I've got to go up the mountain to some remote area with no service, and I've done this before, and, found a lady who, took out a really large policy. And I thought, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I'm going like straight up this mountain, and thought the car was going to flip, but, sometimes you just, I think, what is it with, sometimes with great risk comes great reward. I mean,
Mhm.
in order to, to thrive and have that financial freedom, sometimes you got to get uncomfortable. That's kind of like with exercising, it's uncomfortable. Ain't nobody trying to do a bunch of sit-ups. We don't like doing sit-ups, but like, if you want to look good, you're going to do the sit-ups. So,
Yeah.
sometimes you just got to do things you're uncomfortable with. So, but I've taken my kids and be sitting in the van screaming, and one's got to pee, and I have to stop somewhere in a random field, and, but I think that it's just important to be that determined. I mean, with this business, you can make really great money. And, we wanted to travel, and, 2 years ago, we, kind of hit a wall. I was a stay-at-home mom for 5 years, and, everything started tearing up at one time, and you can't really, life gets hard. So, give it all you got, because you've got the ability, you've got the chance to go out there and really be successful with this. It's kind of just like an open, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't even know. It's just like anything that you want, you can make it anything you want.
No, I agree. It makes me think, like when you said, it makes me think of Forrest Gump, right? Like door knocking is like a box of chocolates, right?
Yeah.
And you never know what you're gonna get, and just it just reminds me of the time when when I started, and I was door knocking, and there was this lead that we had these direct mail leads, and I just I had a couple appointments nearby, and I was like, I pull because what I do is in this zip code I get all the leads and I print them out, and then I'm like, I play like bingo or whatnot, and I pull out, okay, which one am I going to get next, right? So like pulled this one out, and I started driving, and it's like this gravel road, middle of nowhere, and I'm like, is this right? Is my GPS taking me the right way? And I start going up this mountain, and I send my wife a pin of where I was. I was like, just in case I get lost or disappear, this is my last spot, right? And I start driving. It's like 3 miles back, and then I finally find a house, and then it's another mile back to their house, right? Like from their entrance, and I door knock, and nobody's home, and I start leaving, and then all of a sudden they get there. There's like these massive trucks, probably, like lifted monster trucks. And this girl pulls her window down, and it's this tiny little girl. And it's like, can I help you? Right? This monster truck. And her husband's right behind her. And I wrote like 6,000, APV in that house. And so you never know what you're going to get because nobody else is going to go see them. Right. But so you use CRM leads, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you door knock and you call them. What's your typical calling session look like? I know it's scattered and I know you deal with a lot of situations, but when do you actually make calls?
Um, so I start as early as I can. So sometimes it may be 8:30. I will try to do like, 8:30, do a couple of hours, or, if things go really south at the house, I get like an hour at a time. Um, and, so I don't get to do the typical, longer amount of dialing. But I make my dials really fast. And one thing that, I'd heard Sean say is, that, you're going through the no's to get the yeses. And, when I'm calling them and saying, hey, I'm coming over. Like, I'm not like, yeah, I'm like, I'm the Cabell County underwriter and, I'm coming over. So and with that, like I'll try to set 8 appointments, within a few hours. So that I usually try to give myself, an amount that I'm going to set within, such and such time. Usually I'll try to make a bet with my mother-in-law that, if I set more appointments, she buys the Dunkin' Donuts for the day and coffee, and so I'm like, you got to buy it. So I try to do stuff, like that. That's kind of fun because, I mean, if she's going to be sitting there listening to me, I'm at least going to, try to make a bet with her or
Right.
something.
So you make phone calls and you tell them pretty much you're coming over, right? Which works when you're going in the house. Okay. So going to the house is totally different than doing it remotely, just letting people know, right? You can get into the house and help families, and you spend about an hour to hour and a half with the families in the house. Is that correct? You care and connect on a really, really good level. Would you say that's kind of something you really are good at?
hmm Yeah, I could pretty much be comfortable in most any situation. And in most homes, I think I connect with people very well. And then I think trust is a very, very important thing when it comes to this. They you want them to trust you and be comfortable with you. So and know that you're going to take care of them and you're going to help them, do what's right and do what they need. So that's important.
And you don't, how do you deal, and this is something that kind of was asked, but how do you deal with chargebacks? Do you have chargebacks many, and how do you deal with them?
Um, I've had a couple, and I really don't. I mean, I'm writing enough business that I don't even. I'm not really noticing it. Um, so I will try to call, and I'll try to see what's going on. And if it's just they change bank accounts, or they're just struggling financially at the moment or something. But for the most part, it's, you know, I've not really, it's there, but it's there for just a minute and then it's gone. So it's not really something that's affecting me in a negative way. So.
Because you write good business, right? You make sure this is something they can afford, and you do a really thorough financial analysis, which, like we talked about. Now, everybody I talk to, right, especially ladies that don't want to go door knocking or face to face, and they're like, hey, there's some sketch areas, right? How do you deal with some areas that are very, very sketch? I know you said you have some pepper spray and stuff like that, but have you really been in a lot of those situations, or just like one or twosies here and there?
I've just one or two here and there. I went into an abandoned house one time, and the guy was living out of the bedroom, and he hit on me a lot, but ultimately, once I figured that, okay, he really doesn't have the income to afford this, I'm like, well, I got to get to my next appointment. If things change for you, here's my card. But and you just go with it. But I really haven't been in any situations too bad like that. And like I said, I am kind of in a rough area. Huntington's like number one for like opioid, and there's always people getting shot and stuff like that. I have my location on. I don't wear expensive jewelry. Don't, if you got two vehicles, drive the clunker. Um, you know, just, the whole carrying yourself, um, in a professional way, but not like overly,
Right.
doing it. Yeah. And try to read the situation. I mean, go with your gut. Like, I have, when I went to Tampa, rolled up to a place and I'm like, I don't know, and kind of walk around a little bit. But, for the most part, you don't get that much because there's good people living in bad areas. I'll go to the hood, or what they call I guess the projects here. And my husband doesn't like me going there, so I'll turn off my location because he tells me I'm not allowed to go there, but I do what I want. So there's probably 25, 30 people that live over there that are, wanting life insurance. And there's some really good people that live there. Yeah, it's a bad area. People get shot and stuff and, what have you. But like, there's some really good people over there. So, the way I feel is I just, I just pray. I pray every morning for God's protection to help me and to help me find the families I need to reach and to watch over me and keep me safe. I think that's something very important. I think that, praying about that helps. So there's more good people, I feel like, that than there is bad. So, and for the most part, if they're too bad, I don't think they're really trying to get life insurance. In this business, you don't, if it's somebody who's, they've requested it because they got somebody they love, they're trying to protect. So, you just kind of have to always have those positive thoughts, and, to stay positive about the whole situation and everything you're doing.
So we have established you make dials when you can, right? You try to make calls every single day. And when you don't have appointments, you go door knock, the ones that you couldn't reach, right? You do what it takes. You have a busy life. And so you still write a good amount of business, even though you go to their home. So you've you've kind of transitioned to that life from Affleck to doing life, but how has this actually changed your life to be able to have you done anything extra, anything special? Like how's this actually changed for you?
Well, for 5 years, I wasn't able to buy anybody a gift or do anything for anybody with my own money. I had to use my husband's own money to buy his birthday gift, and so this year I sent him to Colorado for the weekend. He was real happy about that, and I wouldn't have been able to do that without working and the success I'm having. We did put in a saltwater pool this year. I've only been in it once because, if I have the time to get in the pool, I've got the time to dial or to, run appointments, be door knocking, So we've done a lot of things that we've wanted to do for years. And, it's just been such a huge change because every other weekend we're going on family trips. So one weekend I get to go out and do my appointments and have all weekend. And then the next weekend my husband gets, and he gets to choose where we go travel. Yesterday it was New River Gorge, and we took a hike that almost killed me for like 3 hours hiking up a mountain. Hiking, but I do it because it's his weekend. My weekends I work. So, but we get to go travel more, take the kids places and do things like that. So we used to have lots of issues with finances and money. And, I'd say a lot of our marital problems were with that. And then as I have been working, that's resolved itself. I mean, he still doesn't put his trash in the garbage, but oh well, but it's really made life, just so much better. That financial freedom, of not struggling to pay this or that and stress. I mean, what we want in life is peace. We want the peacefulness. We want the ability to, if somebody comes to our door for a charity or something, selling something, and we want to help them, we want to have the money to do that and not be like, well, can't pay the cable, but I'll buy your book, So it just makes such a huge difference, especially for the kids. They can tell a huge difference too, because we're, mom and dad's not arguing as much. And, they're able to go places and have fun, have more family time. So it's been amazing. It's one of those things that I thank God for, because I'm like, why were we not doing this forever ago? Why did it take me so long? And at first, whenever I started, I didn't have too much support. My husband was like, too good to be true, not going to work out that well. And I'm like, yes, it is. You stop it. You stop talking to me with your negative, negative comments. But he has come around completely. He loves when I go out to work. So he's, talking about wanting a Challenger, since they're discontinuing those, all that stuff. And I'm like, good Lord. So, but it makes a huge difference financially in your life, not just with monetary, things, but the peace that it brings, and the being able to explore. I mean, that's what, we're given one life, and, time is valuable. So, make the most of it and spend time with your family. My mom, I was never able to do much for my mom, even though growing up, she sacrificed so much for us. And then this year I was able to buy her a pool vacuum. Anybody that has one knows those are very expensive. She would have not been able to do that. And it was more of the, when my mom needs help or something, I can help her now. So, and that's an amazing feeling when you can help your parents after they've sacrificed so long to help you. So,
contentment and peace is, I think it's the most valuable thing we forget about, that we look for. And so, so I do have one question. And I know when I started in this industry, I've heard everybody, and I've heard these calls, and people are doing really, really well. But has there been a point when you started this and you're like, oh my gosh, this is not working out? Like, what am I doing wrong? Was there a point where you're like, it took a while for it to finally click, where you're like, oh, I understand now. What was that moment? You know what I'm talking about?
yeah, I know what you're talking about. So when that happened, I texted Ben. I'm like, Ben, you know, this roller coaster that I'm on, have you felt this way? He's like, well, yeah, of course um, and Ben has been a whole lot of help to me, because when I find myself in a pickle, he's there. Um, but knowing that he had been in that and how successful he is, and then it's, trust the process. So I listen to a lot of podcasts, listen to Paul McLean, and just any podcast I can, as when I have free time. During the day when I'm doing appointments, it's podcast. Because I can constantly, if I'm constantly feeding my mind the right things and the things I need to, to say and do for my clients, then, it's right there. But yeah, when I got to that point, just knowing that other successful people have been there, and, telling myself that, trust the process. It works. I mean, even like on your worst day, you're going to have a better day. Like it's the process. You're going to get to a point where there could be some days you could go, and every place you go, you're going to write business. And then some days where you can't write nothing. And, that's just, I mean, it's going to happen, and it happens to me, and, it happens to everybody. It's, but, if you're making the dials, if you're, setting appointments, I mean, you're going to do good. It's just the discipline to do that. My husband says, he's like, you work for yourself, and you're telling me that you can't do something. Like, I'm like, you don't understand. You just don't get it. I can't explain it to you anymore, but I have a certain type of discipline, because, he's like, what do you mean you have to go work, or you have to go to this place? He's like, you make your own schedule. I'm like, yeah, but I'm only able to do that because I'm disciplined enough to hold myself accountable, to know when to put, my job, when to put work first. So that's something that is important. But yeah, I think everybody gets to that point, and the more podcasts I listen to and stuff, it's what the thing I take from that is, like, everybody goes through it. It's just listen to some positive stuff, kind of dial in and get connected and realize that, this is just part of it. It's just trust the process because it will get better.
Yeah. I remember my uh, come to Jesus moment is I was I was I was I was one of those where unfortunately I would say unfortunately I had some good success in the beginning, and you just kind of reminded me, and then I thought, oh, this is going to be easy. Guess what happened month 2 and 3? Okay, I didn't write anything, and I was like, this doesn't work, right? This is my first month. I did pretty good, and then all of a sudden I was like, what is happening, right? And you start getting in your head, and then I would do okay, and then finally my come to Jesus moment was like, this is not really like I'm doing part time, like I'm doing sometimes, right? And sometimes it's not a time on the clock. So I was like, you know what? For 2 weeks, I'm just gonna turn everything off, and I'm gonna call every single day, and I'm gonna give this 2 weeks, and I'm just gonna buy all the leads I can. And I'm literally, I told my wife, I was like, don't even talk to me for 2 weeks, right? So I was like, I'm just if I can't do this, I'm gonna quit, all right? And so 2 weeks, literally, I just called and called and called, and I didn't care. I just wanted to get a bunch of no's, and then I think I wrote like 30,000 or something like that in that 2 weeks because I just put my head down and I worked, and I was like, okay, okay, finally. And then to me was I can't miss a day of calling. Like when I start miss a day of calling, I get anxious, right? It's like, I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta do more. I gotta do more, right? So and so that was kind of my outcome to Jesus moment. Like, okay, I know what I need to do in order for this to work. And I imagine everybody else had that moment. So before we go and you want to close us out, but what is something you have that you want to share with or give some advice to anybody that that kind of changed your world in this industry? What is something that you heard that constantly kind of brings you to it that you want to share with people?
Um, well, there's a few of those. Uh, I would, I would say, stick with it and trust the process. Because it will work. The process works. We've seen it work. And as long as you are, doing the work, putting the work in, you'll be successful with it. And then stay positive. Flood yourself with positive people. Flood yourself with the support, that you need to do this. I think that's really important. The podcasts make a world of difference. So if you can listen to podcasts when you're going to appointments, the 8 steps with Paul McLean is great. I use that a lot. The close, if you are doing a close differently than what the Paul McLean close is, try that. You can't make a decision today, but you can submit the application. So there's just a lot of little things. I think that you can always get better. There's so many ways to get better. You just have to keep on, trying to learn, constantly learning and feeding your mind and feeding yourself with positivity, and reach out to everybody on your team, and also reach out to Ben. Ben's a lot of help. So because when you hit that point where that it's a roller coaster, there's a bad day, you need to put yourself around someone positive. Because it can feel a little isolating and scary. And when you get to that point, realize you're at that point and reach out for help, because it's with anything that, you're going to receive great reward for, it's going to be putting in a lot of work for. So, and pray about it. I think that praying about your safety and I think that's a big thing too, but yeah, I would say podcasts, surround yourself with positivity and people that can help you.
I agree. Gosh, positivity. just coming in with a positive mindset and in insulating yourself with people around you. It's hard for, when I was going through something, it's hard for my wife for me to tell her, hey, I'm having a bad day, and she just doesn't understand. So being around everybody and insulating yourself. I listen to podcasts in the cars all day. I remember that. I mean, and before I was with FFL, I would watch their YouTube videos on my way to the appointment, right? And so all the time I would just feed myself with something, some kind of information to be part of, what everybody's doing. I think that's so important and staying positive. It's easy to be negative. It's hard to be positive, right? I think that's a really, really good advice for anybody. Everybody goes through it. Everybody's on that roller coaster, and so we just try to manage it together. Gosh, I remember going to appointments and all 10 stood me up. I couldn't close the toilet seat, right? And driving home, you felt like you wanted to drive off the cliff, And so that's what isolation does. So you have to insulate yourself. But Sierra, thank you so much. There's so much good nuggets here. I am so honored to be in business with you and blessed. And gosh, I can't see, just so much coming your way. And keep it up, and there's going to be good things and there's going to be more roller coasters down the route and down the line. So thank you so much. I appreciate it, guys. Just an awesome call. If you guys want to stick around, I'll make some live dials here. So appreciate it. Thank you so much. And go get them, guys.